Deep within Petra's red cliffs, archaeologists uncovered a concealed tomb. Inside, they found 12 skeletons. They had stayed undisturbed for more than 2,000 years, and that's a very strange thing. Most tombs in Petra were looted long ago, so what makes this discovery so special? Let's find out. This is the ancient city of Petra. Its enormous sandstone cliffs are impossible to forget. It's no surprise it's one of the new 7 wonders of the world. The buildings here are carved directly into the rock, and that already makes the place look unreal. But Petra has also been a major name in the world of archaeology for a long time. At one point, Petra appeared in the film Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Some scenes were shot right in front of the famous structure known as Al-Khazna, or the Treasury. But not long ago, something even more thrilling happened there in real life. A television crew from the show Expedition Unknown came to Petra to film a new investigation. And while they were there, archaeologists made a massive discovery. They found 12 human skeletons and several ancient items. All of them were buried beneath the ground in front of the treasury, hidden there for around 2,000 years. Archaeologists didn't begin digging immediately. First, they used a special device called ground-penetrating radar, something like an X-ray for the Earth. Rather than guessing where to dig, the machine scans below the surface and reveals shapes that could be tombs or hollow spaces. Anyway, when the team examined the radar data, something interesting appeared. The patterns looked very similar to places in Petra where tombs had already been uncovered before. That was a major clue that something might be hidden underground. After reviewing the results, the authorities in Jordan granted permission for the excavation. That's when the team finally began digging beneath the famous site. And that's how they uncovered the skeletons and ancient artifacts. Interestingly, many tombs in Petra have been discovered completely empty. Because over the centuries, anything valuable was taken by looters or simply vanished with time. But this tomb was very different. Inside, the team found 12 human skeletons and a few ancient objects. Some of the bones even had mold on them. That happened because Petra is carved into sandstone cliffs. Sandstone is pretty porous, which means it can absorb water like a giant sponge. The area sometimes floods, and moisture likely slowly found its way into the tomb. Along with the skeletons, the archaeologists found items made of bronze, iron, and ceramic. One object stood out, a ceramic chalice resting in the arms of one of the buried people. It was almost as if the person had been holding it when they were laid to rest. Strangely, the cup looked a lot like the Holy Grail from the Indiana Jones film. The famous structure above the tomb, Al-Khazna, stands near the main entrance to the city. It's thought to be at least 2,000 years old. This enormous structure is carved straight into the sandstone cliffs. Today, it's one of the most recognizable landmarks in the world. But even though the treasury is so famous, archaeologists still don't completely understand its history. One reason is that many of the nearby tombs didn't contain many artifacts. And without objects to study, it becomes much harder to determine exactly when the building was made or how it was used. That's why the team was so excited. The discovery could help them learn more about the ancient people who lived in Petra and built the city. The location of the tomb might already be an important clue. You see, being buried right in front of the treasury was probably a huge honor. The human remains themselves could also tell an interesting story. The skeletons were still lying in their original positions without being shifted around or disturbed by looters. That's why scientists can study them much more carefully to learn things like how old these people were, how they lived, or whether they were healthy. We could also learn more about the place those people called home, the ancient city of Petra. It was built more than 2,000 years ago by the Nabateans. Starting around the 4th century BCE, this desert city became the center of their kingdom and an important stop for trade across the Middle East. The location helped a lot. Petra lies in a valley surrounded by mountains, and the main entrance is a long, narrow canyon called the Al-Sik. Because the path is so narrow, the city was easy to defend and hard for enemies to attack. Thanks to these factors, the city grew quickly. At its height, around 30,000 people may have lived there, but the city sits in a dry desert canyon. Natural water is fairly limited there. So how did so many people live in Petra? The answer is smart engineering. The Nabateans built a water system that was incredibly advanced for its time. They didn't depend on a single water source. It was an entire network carved directly into the rock. They cut channels, pipes, and storage tanks into the cliffs. This helped them direct water from nearby springs into the city. It was like an ancient plumbing system made entirely out of stone. Even better, the water didn't just flow straight into the city. First, it moved through special settling basins where dirt and sand could sink to the bottom. After that, the water was stored in large reservoirs surrounded by thick stone walls, which helped keep the water cooler in the desert heat. Flash floods were also a major danger in the canyon. When heavy rain fell in the surrounding mountains, water often rushed down the narrow valleys. To handle that, the Nabateans built dams and channels that redirected the floodwater into storage reservoirs. Another fascinating thing about Petra is the placement of its main buildings. In 2013, researchers found that several important monuments lined up with the sun during key moments of the year, like the solstices and equinoxes. Scientists now believe that the buildings may have functioned like giant calendars, helping people track the seasons in a desert landscape. Natural signs of time can be hard to notice there. Another Petra mystery is 3 enormous stone blocks, the Jinn blocks. They date back to around the 2nd century BCE and are some of the earliest large tombs built in Petra. 2 of them have burial chambers inside, and the 3rd one even has a grave on top, like a small rooftop coffin. No one really knows exactly why they were built. Most experts say they were tombs, but some think they may have been carved to honor deities or used in rituals. But however great Petra was, things started to change in 106 CE. That's when the powerful Roman Empire took control of the city and made it part of their territory. Trade didn't completely stop, but the city slowly lost some of its importance. Later, a major earthquake in 551 CE caused serious damage to the area. It may have been the final blow for a city that was already in decline. Over time, Petra was eventually abandoned and became known as the Lost City. But there's another nickname people used much more often, the Rose City. The name comes from the color of the cliffs around Petra. The sandstone rocks have a reddish-pink color, especially when the sun is low in the sky. What tourists see today is only a tiny slice of Petra. Some estimates say archaeologists have only excavated about 15% of the city. Visitors pass through the narrow Sik, stare at the 130-foot-high treasury, walk along tomb-lined streets, and climb more than 800 steps to reach the monastery, Ad Dir. But that's like seeing the tip of an iceberg. The rest is still buried. Petra keeps surprising us. In 2016, researchers used satellite images to spot a huge, previously unknown monument. The platform is enormous, about 184 by 161 feet, and has columns along one side. Pottery fragments suggest it's more than 2,150 years old. So, basically, even after centuries of exploration, Petra is still full of secrets. They're just waiting to be uncovered. That's it for today. So, hey, if you satisfied your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on this channel.